Welcome back to a new installment in New Zealand Bird of the Week, where in this video I will be talking about the Kaka, another one of New Zealand's fascinating parrot species, which shares a unique evolutionary history with their close relatives, Kia and Kakapo. But I won't be alone on this video, as for this is in fact a collab between me and Ben, who you will most likely know as the main face of the channel, known simply as Benji Thomas. I hope you enjoy. Large and often heard before they are seen, Kaka are definitely some of New Zealand's most charismatic birds, but unlike their relatives they are arguably not as well known. They do not have the notoriety for being supremely rare like the Kakapo, nor do they have the inquisitive nature of the Kia, although that is an arguable point. Even so, Kaka are still beautiful birds that call New Zealand home, and deserve to be shown in the same limelight.
Found all across New Zealand, albeit being much reduced in range and abundance due to a variety of factors, the birds remain locally common at sites where the main islands are close to offshore island refuges, as well as in areas where pest levels have been controlled and stabilised. Kaka can be found in a variety of native forest types, including podocarp and beech forest. Despite being heavily reduced in its native ranges, Kaka are still a common sight in the capital city of Wellington, having spread from Zealandia and other neighbouring sanctuaries, and are now a staple of the area.
Kaka are olive brown in colour, possessing red and orange underwings and deep crimson stomachs and undertail coverts. Male Kaka have a noticeably longer and deeper upper mandible as well as a bigger head than females, but this is generally only apparent when the two sexes are seen side by side. Kaka mainly breed throughout spring and summer, but occasional broods can sometimes extend into winter. Nests are generally made in tree cavities over 5 metres above ground, but can be at ground level on offshore islands where mammalian predators are not found. The female bird incubates the eggs and cares for the nestlings alone, but the male also has a role in feeding the brooding mother throughout the breeding season, in order to maintain her strength. After the chicks become more adventurous, both parents then feed the fledglings, which often fledge before they are even able to climb or fly properly.
Kaka are adept flyers, capable of weaving through trunks and branches, and can cover long distances, including over water. Radio tracking and banding studies have revealed that the Kaka of the Hen and Chickens, Little Barrier and Great Barrier Islands are effectively one population, even though these islands are separated by as much as 25 kilometers of open water. As conspicuous as they can be when in a group, Kaka are typically cryptic when foraging alone. Often the only way to spot them is by listening out for the sound of wood or seed fragments being dropped by the bird as it forages. Kaka are rare to uncommon in native forests throughout the 3 main islands of New Zealand, except for areas adjacent to offshore island strongholds, such as the Hen and Chicken Islands, Little Barrier Island, Kapiti Island, Ulva Island, and Codfish Island. They are also common on Great Barrier and Mare Islands, and have recovered at some sites where control of mammalian predators is undertaken, such as the Wangapika Valley in Kahurangi National Park, and the Eglinton Valley and Waitutu in Fiordland National Park. Reintroduction programs have been remarkably successful in areas where pest control is undertaken, with a large Kaka flock being a main feature at the Pukaha Mount Bruce National Wildlife Centre in the Wairarapa.
The evolutionary history of Kaka is an interesting one. Kaka belong to the genus known as Nestor, which contains 4 species: the New Zealand Kaka, the Kia, and the extinct Norfolk and Chatham Kaka. All 4 are thought to stem from a proto-Kaka, which would have dwelled in the forests of New Zealand around 5 million years ago. Kia and Kaka, in the case of the New Zealand mainland, went through a form of evolution known as divergent evolution, where a stock species, in this case the proto-Kaka, expanded its range into the alpine zones of the more mountainous regions of the country, eventually becoming so distinct from its relatives that it became its own unique species. Together, these parrots alongside the Kakapo form the ancient parrot group known as Strigopidae, a group that dates back to the early Miocene, split off from all of the other Sacidae before their evolutionary radiation. The 2 other Kaka species, the Chatham and Norfolk Kaka, went extinct relatively recently, and are the only 2 that did not survive to the present day. The Chatham Kaka became extinct within the first 150 years of the arrival of the Polynesians, around 1550, long before any European settlers, with no skins or descriptions of the bird surviving. This bird was likely a poorer flyer than its mainland relatives, and this is likely what ensured the species' downfall. The Norfolk kaka is the more understood of the two, having several depictions in art and eyewitness accounts, as well as a collection of specimens. The species likely became extinct in the wild by the early 19th century, sometime during the arrival of British occupation on the island. The last bird of the species unfortunately passed away in London in 1851.
Like many of New Zealand's endemic biodiversity, kaka were widespread across all of mainland New Zealand before the arrival of man, and were still in plentiful numbers by the time Europeans arrived. Unfortunately, the tactical and widespread clearing of forest heavily reduced the birds' numbers, now numbering just over 10,000. Kaka require large tracts of forest to survive, and the habitat loss from forest clearance had a devastating effect. They are now at risk from stoat attacks, which often attack vulnerable nesting females, leading to a disproportionate gender ratio in certain areas. They also compete for high-energy food types such as mistletoe and rata with possums and wasps, leading to kaka often losing out on precious resources. All of these factors impacting kaka have forced them into closer contact with people, which has created another predicament: people don't know how to approach them. Kaka numbers in the capital city of Wellington have sharply increased since their successful transfer into Zealandia, and their numbers have been on the rise. But many juvenile kaka are falling victim to a nasty metabolic bone disease, after chowing down on bread and crackers left outside by well-meaning Wellingtonians. Just remember, don't feed nectar-feeding birds grain-based foods like bread. You might mean well and feel like you are doing a necessary service, but you could very well end the life of a beautiful animal that should just be left alone and admired from a distance.
Thanks for watching this installment in New Zealand Bird of the Week. I really hoped you enjoyed it. For next time, you guys now have the opportunity to vote for the fairy tern, a critically endangered seabird that is in fact the rarest of our endemic birds, with a population of fewer than a dozen pairs. I would like to give a massive thanks to Ben for joining me in narrating this video, and I hope to collaborate more with him in the future. Expect me to be on his channel at some point as well, wink wink. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you consider subscribing, and if you already are, be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and watch another one of my videos if you want. Until next time, enjoy all things science. See you later.